you're dissatisfied by the results or you feel it's not, you disagree with the results, you have the right to an independent evaluation, as many evaluations as you want at your own expense, and this can be considered when we meet to discuss what type of services. Also, if you are dissatisfied with the evaluation that your daughter receives from us and you want us to pay for someone to evaluate her independently, someone who is not a staff member of the school, you have every right to do that. There might be times when we disagree about the special services that your child might receive. And again, I'm getting way ahead of myself because we haven't even done the initial evaluation. But let's just say that we do decide after the evaluation that there are services that will help her. If we ever disagree about those services, we hope that you will always come back to us, and that, in the same way that we have communicated before, and we have been able to come to decisions and things before, that we'll continue to do that, and that you will come to us first to try to resolve any disagreements that we have. And we're always here. I also want to give you a guide to the ARD process. I mentioned before that after the evaluation we'll have what's called an ARD meeting. And so I wanted to give you this, which is a guide to the ARD process. ARD stands for Admission, Review, and Dismissal. Admission would be if we get the evaluation, we decide that your daughter should be admitted, or we should give your daughter certain special services. That would be her admission into it. If we do give these services, we set goals for her, and we reevaluate these goals and see, are these services that we're providing working for her? We review them. That's the R. And then if we decide that services are no longer needed, dismissal can be part of that process as well. I wanted to go over a few things in this guide for you, just so you know when we do have a meeting to discuss the evaluation results. We will have an ARD meeting, and there are certain people who will come to this ARD committee meeting, and I just want to let you know who would be there. You, the parent, and of course your husband. If he's able to come, we would love to have him there. We will have your daughter's classroom teacher would attend this meeting. Also, if there is a teacher who provides special education services, we would have a special education teacher attend this meeting to assist us, with any advice and just to help us make a decision about what would be best for her. There would also be a person who can, that would be me. I'm the person who would interpret the evaluations and the tests that I give her, and just to interpret the scores, and just the results of these the evaluation we do. Also, a representative of the school, that could be our principal, that could be another administrator, maybe our assistant principal or a counselor or someone like that who's representing the school just as kind of someone else. And then there are other individuals that may be there. If, let's say that we decide that your daughter could benefit from some occupational therapy, for example, we would invite an occupational therapist to the meeting so that they can give us their advice and their experience, and just share that with us to see if that might be something appropriate for her. If they decide physical therapy is something that might help her. And not to say that any of these are going to necessarily be things that we consider, but just in case, you should know that that's a person who could be at the committee if we need it. If we might be doing some auditory evaluation of your daughter to test her hearing and to see if this could be something that is keeping her from progressing the way we'd like to. She does wear glasses, and so far those glasses have corrected her vision, and I don't see any reason for someone to be, a representative to be there who is there for children with visual disabilities. But anyway, and that would be all of the people who would be at our committee meeting. You will be invited to attend this initial ARD meeting, of course. Any ARD committee meeting that we have for your child, we will absolutely make sure that you are invited, that it's a time that, to the best of our abilities is convenient for you and convenient even for your husband also if he chooses to attend. We'll give you written notice about this at least 5 days before the meeting of when the meeting will be. We will let you know where it is. That's important to make sure that you can attend. Also, if there's a point at which you cannot attend a meeting, let's just say, I know that you take care of your mother, and so if there's a point at which you are unable to come to a meeting, but you are able to participate by phone, Skype, we can always do that as well. In developing, let's just say we come back with the evaluation. We do see that there are some special education services that may benefit your daughter. We will develop what we call an IEP. An IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. And this will include any services that your daughter might receive. It will include, and we start out by putting in this individualized education program the strengths that your daughter has. I know that she's a wonderful dancer, and so that's something that we would include to see if there might be, we might be able to use that strength in order to help her in the areas where she has challenges and struggles. We also will include, we will also consider when we're developing this IEP, any of your concerns about how we can enhance our education. We will, of course, talk about the results of the evaluation that we give her, and we'll talk about any academic, developmental, or functional needs that we feel your daughter has. So any, if it's determined that there are possibly some occupational therapy needs that she has, we will, let you know that that's because we evaluated this and we see these things. So any of these needs that we see will be included and considered when coming up with her an individualized education program. Any decision that the ARD committee makes concerning this individualized education program or IEP, we want to come to a consensus or a mutual agreement where everyone in the committee, including yourself, agrees with the services we're providing, the way we're providing them, and also the goals that we set for your daughter that we hope that these services will help her to reach. And so our goal is always that we want to come to an agreement and consensus. In this IEP, we will set some annual goals for your daughter, and we will even set smaller goals for her if we decide that we do need to provide special education services for her. We will add goals, annual and also short-term goals, to reach progress in the areas if we see that that's necessary. As you know, your daughter in 3rd grade would start to take the STAR test, which is the state test that is given. If we see after we've evaluated your daughter, we have provided special education services, we come to the conclusion that she may, on the STAR test, she may need some accommodations. Accommodations can be anything from having questions read to her to taking her test in a small group, taking frequent breaks. It could be all kinds of things. If we decide that she needs some accommodations like this, the school will be responsible for providing those for her. And again, this is going to be in the future because she is in first grade, and we have 90 days to have that ARD meeting. So 90 days from now, we aren't going to be discussing any accommodations she may need on the statewide STAR test, but just to let you know that is something that we might consider at an ARD committee meeting later. We may also decide that there's an alternative STAR assessment that she needs to take as opposed to the typical general STAR test. We will discuss that in an ARD committee meeting. We decide the ARD committee is where we decide what services might enable your child to advance towards those annual goals that we might set. The ARD committee will decide, we will decide what needs to be involved in helping your daughter progress. And this may even include extracurricular activities for her. Also, the ARD committee, we decide what services are needed, of course, so that your daughter can be educated and participate with children. Let's say that we determine that through the evaluation that there are some special needs or disabilities that she has. We will do our best to make sure that she receives that education and participates with children that don't receive special education services and that don't have disabilities as well. There are other things that we discuss. One of the things that we just discussed is that the law guarantees that your daughter, if it's decided that she needs to be placed in certain special education services, we will make sure that this happens in the least restrictive environment. And what that means is that she'll be educated as often as possible, which will probably be almost 100% of the time. But we won't know until we get the evaluation and see what special education services we might provide for your daughter. But that she'll be educated as much as possible with children who do not receive special education services, and that just provides for her needs. And I believe those are the highlights. You're welcome to, of course, take this home and read this for fun. And just any questions that you have, please let me know. You can let me know at any point. You can ask those at the R meeting if you prefer. But just let us know any questions you have. And if you will please sign this document saying that you did receive this notice, and also sign saying that you received a guide to the ARD process. I would greatly appreciate that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions right now? I know that's a lot to take in. Do you have any questions for me right now? Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. And again, please bring any questions to me before about any of these things, or if you, please bring those to the ARD meeting. We will let you know when we have completed the evaluation and get with you so that we can schedule an ARD meeting to discuss those results and see if there are any services we can provide for your daughter. Okay, thank you very much for being here. And goodbye, Dr. Brown.